Today we begin pulling out the Christmas decorations from this corner. The vast majority of them are in this corner, and including some items that are not and that are on this shelf. The idea today is to begin to test the outside Christmas lights, predominantly C9s and C7s. There's about a container and a half like that, or 2 containers of C9s, and I think about a container of C7s, let alone another container similar to something like this with LED C9s, retro C9s that screw in, that are staked, have stakes on them for the lawn. We won't touch those today, but what we do is we essentially plug in every single set and test them out. There's a mix of incandescent with retro LEDs. The reason for that is there's just so many of them, and there was no way with all those incandescent that I would be able to have them all plug in and not be having an issue with electricity. So let's get started. All right, the first step is to pull out all the bins of lights, and we've done that. We have at least 3 bins, maybe 4 bins of sets that we want to check, a combination of C9s and C7s. As you can see in this string, we have a mix of LEDs and incandescent. A lot of these, actually all of them, started life as full-on incandescent bulbs, and I've retrofitted them over the years to allow myself to add more lights, because obviously the incandescents use way more electricity, and it's not about necessarily being energy efficient for the sake of being energy efficient on the holidays. It's more so you can allow yourself to add more lights without shorting yourself out. So really the process works like this. Keep really a box or a container, and I order them just like this, C9s, C7s. And I even do have, some of these are color changing, which are used in certain areas of the yard. So we just go on and on and on. I do, however, because I know some people just love incandescent bulbs, which I prefer them as well, but there's only so much I can do with incandescent before, like I said, we have issues. So what I will do sometimes is, if I'm in the store and I see a closeout on incandescent bulbs at the end of the season, or if they're on sale for really inexpensive, I grab a handful of packs. So I still work with them. There's not really any in this miscellaneous box, but you guys get the idea. It just, I keep this, and I keep fuses. We have fuses, and and spare plugs, because I've been known to blow out plugs. So I just have a bunch of them, so I can just snip off the bad plug. Although the disadvantage with this is when you use these, you have no fuse. So you gotta kind of be careful where you use them, meaning if I'm plugging 3 sets in, I will make it the 3rd set in the line. So the other 2 sets essentially protect it. So let's get started. What we do is 1 set at a time through, I think, about 100 sets or so, if not more. We do this, we turn them on, note the ones that are out. This one's flashing, so it has to go. So let's see, just make sure these are not a color changing. Yeah, these are color changing ones, which are used, and we'll get to those later in the video. These are slow change bulbs. These are not. These are just warm white. Actually, but before we do that, I will sometimes look to see if I have a direct incandescent bulb to replace it with. And there we go. So it's a mindless process, but it ensures that everything's working. The advantage of switching to LED over time, slowly, is I'm replacing less and less bulbs every year, because the plastic is obviously more durable than the incandescent bulbs. So they can kind of stand to get knocked around. But you can tell one that's a little older, because this isn't that bright, but then you compare it to like this one, it's much brighter. So you know, they do fade out over time for sure, and they aren't as nice looking as the old school incandescent bulbs, but we go with it. For example, this one's all scraped up. All right, so we're gonna get going, and we're not gonna record this whole entire process because it'd be an extremely long video. There's 3 of us that are gonna get to work, and with a little luck, we will get through all these today. If not, later in the day, and we'll show you what we do from here. All right, in this case, we went to test this one, and the fuse popped or went bad. Sometimes this happens when you just adjust the bulb and it's just for whatever reason shorts. Now, for those of you who don't know, in these C9s and C5s, they typically, you can see 2 slots here. So this one came out, they actually always have a spare for the most part. So before you panic and think, oh, I gotta get fuses, they usually always have a spare, a good one in there. So I wanted to point that out. I did show earlier in the video, I do keep plenty on hand, just in case. I don't even remember where I got these, but there's a little baggie in there with fuses. So we're gonna replace that one and get this one back up to speed. Now that we replaced the fuse, we will just give it a test. We gotta replace that bulb. But that was obviously a simple fix. This is the bad fuse, which will get tossed. And we will deal with the bad bulb, which is, it looks like an orange, red. And we're back in business. So here we have one, and this happens from time to time. It's an incandescent that shattered. So with the power off, we'll safely use a pair of pliers. Ideally, needle nose are the best, but you can use a traditional pair of pliers as long as you have something to grab onto. So we're gonna do that right now. All right, and we're back in business. All right, so we finished testing all those lights. This was probably record speed. 3 of us doing the testing. A combination of things made it record speed. 3 of us doing the testing. We're at a point where we've retrofitted so many strings over the years gradually with LED retrofits that, you know, they last longer, and not because they're LEDs, but because mainly because of the plastic housing. They don't get banged around, or they can take it a little bit more. So that being said, these are all was what we replaced. These are all dead bulbs. A couple of busted ones in there, and then a fuse. Only 1 fuse. And that's very typical. Usually seems like every season it's one that has a fuse, and there's always inevitably a plug that gets fried along the way. That's usually when it's outside and I gotta snip it, like this one I did a number of years ago. So we will need to order for some of the C7s. I like to kind of throw in the color changing ones when we retrofit them, kind of for fun. So we're gonna need a couple more. Those are solid green C7s. I probably need to order some reds, and then for C9s, we need to pick up some more greens. We were kind of having a running joke that when we were replacing bulbs, it seemed like we had a run on greens, and it always, every year seems that way. There's, you know, something that we have run on. But we have plenty of reds, plenty of oranges, blues. We seem to be okay. We can get that. Will be enough for another year. So the idea is that I'm prepared for the following year. So just what we did with them is we have them individually laid out. And you kind of have to get creative of where you put them all. And the idea is that you can quickly grab them. You know, they're wound up in a way that the plug is facing out, so you can plug it in. So they're laying all over the place. All over the place. You know, each chair here has each chair has 4 sets probably not obvious on camera. The table has them all laid out. They're laid out on the floor. They're laid out over here, just everywhere. But they're ready to go. And the idea was today, we were gonna even take it a step further, but it's raining today. We were gonna do this process up in the garage, and as they came off the light replacement assembly line, we were going to actually put them up. And as of this recording, and it'll be some time before I get this uploaded, as of this recording, it is before Halloween. Last year was the first year I started putting strings up before Halloween, but I do it strategically in areas that are not noticeable, and it's not hooked up to electricity yet. We're still doing landscaping this time of year with cutting the grass and whatnot, so that once that all starts and you're putting stuff in the lawn, it kind of makes it hard for cutting grass and whatnot, and we're still doing some of that. So next step, probably next weekend at this point, if we have a good day, we will start putting up on the shrubs and the bushes that are kind of away from everything, these lights, and kind of work our way inwards. Again, it's still it's not even Halloween yet. We have Halloween decorations and everything up, so you kind of don't want to crowd that stuff and let that stuff breathe and have fun during Halloween. So stay tuned. There'll be more parts to this as we get lights up. And thanks for watching. Make sure you like, subscribe, and we will see you on the next one. And if you want a preview of what this will all look like when it's up in the yard, go back to the channel and check out Christmas in March. You'll see what we're aiming to get to at some point this year. Thanks for watching.